On November 5th, 2008, the day after Barack Obama was elected President of the United States, Pulitzer Prize-winning author Alice Walker wrote the first African-American president a letter.
Dear Brother President-elect, you have no idea, really, how profound this moment is for us being the black people of the southern United States. You think you know because you are thoughtful, and you have studied our history. But seeing you delivering the torch so many others carried, only to be brought down before igniting the flame of justice and of law, is almost more than the heart can bear. And yet, this observation is not intended to burden you, for you are of a different time, and indeed, because of all the relay runners before you, this is a different America. It is really only to say, well done. We knew through all the generations that you were with us, in us, the best of the spirit of Africa and the Americas. Knowing this, that you would actually appear someday was part of our strength. Seeing you take your rightful place, based solely on your wisdom, stamina, and character, is a balm for the weary warriors of hope that was previously only sung about. I would advise you to remember that you did not create the disaster that the world is experiencing, and you alone are not responsible for bringing the world back to balance. A primary responsibility that you do have, however, is to cultivate happiness in your own life, to make a schedule that permits sufficient time of rest and play with your gorgeous wife and lovely daughters, not to mention your brave and precious grandmother, who of course, as we know, went on. We are used to seeing men in the White House soon become juiceless and as white-haired as the building. We notice their wives and children looking strained and stressed. They soon have smiles so lacking in joy that they remind us of scissors. This is no way to lead, nor does your family deserve this fate. One way of thinking about all this is, it is so bad now that there is no excuse not to relax. From your happy, relaxed state, you can model real success, which is only what so many people in the world want. They may buy endless cars and houses and furs and gobble up all the attention and space they can manage or barely manage, but this is because it is not clear to them yet that success is truly an inside job, that it is within the reach of everyone. I would further advise you not to take on other people's enemies. Most damage that others do us is out of fear, humiliation, and pain. Those feelings occur in all of us, not just in those of us who profess a certain religious or racial devotion. We must, all of us, learn actually not to have enemies, but only confused adversaries who are ourselves in disguise. It is understood by all that you are the Commander-in-Chief of the United States and are sworn to protect our beloved country. This we understand completely. That is, he will soon be the Commander-in-Chief. However, as my mother used to say, quoting a Bible with which I often fought, hate the sin, but love the sinner. There must be no more crushing of whole communities, no more torture, no more dehumanizing as a means of ruling a people's spirit. This has already happened to people of color, poor people, women, children. We see where this leads, where it has led. A good model of how to work with the enemy internally is presented by the Dalai Lama in his endless caretaking of his soul as he confronts the Chinese government that invaded Tibet. Because finally, it is the soul that must be preserved if one is to remain a credible leader. All else might be lost, but when the soul dies, the connection to earth, to peoples, to animals, to rivers, to mountain ranges, purple and majestic, also dies. And your smile, with which we watch you do gracious battle with unjust characterizations, distortions, and lies, is that expression of healthy self-worth, spirit, and soul that kept happy and free and relaxed can find an answering smile in all of us, lighting our way and brightening the world. We are the ones. We are the ones we have been waiting for. In peace and joy, Alice Walker.
This is African American History is American History. Bessie Smith was born in Chattanooga, Tennessee, on April 15, 1894. She was one of 7 children born to Laura and William Smith. Her father was a laborer and part-time Baptist preacher who died while his daughter was too young to remember him. Then, by the time Bessie Smith was 9, her mother and brother had also died. Her older sister, Viola, took charge of caring for her siblings. Bessie Smith never received a formal education. She and her siblings survived their extreme poverty by performing on street corners. She sang and danced while her brother Andrew played the guitar. In 1912, Bessie Smith auditioned for the Moses Stokes troupe. Managers Lonnie and Cora Fisher hired her not as a vocalist, but as a dancer, since the company already included popular singer Ma Rainey. It was Ma Rainey who helped Bessie develop her stage presence. Around 1913, Bessie Smith began forming her own act, and by 1920, she had established a reputation throughout the South and along the East Coast. Right around this time, the recording industry began to direct its product to black people by establishing a series of, quote, race records. In 1923, capitalizing on this new market, Bessie Smith signed with Columbia Records, and that began her recording career. This has been African American History is American History. African American History is American History. Copyright H.C. Kearsley, 2025.